Hi everyone. Today's video has 3 points and you're going to want to stick around because the third point is a secret as to the one key to becoming a bestseller. So let's get into it. The topic we're discussing today is if you're able to write, you can self-publish a bestseller. Now, after a period of time, you begin to understand that you have what it takes to become a writer. You've perhaps already written a book or maybe some short stories, and you want to reach that goal of yours, which is to become a bestseller. But you're not sure which steps you need to take in order to become a bestseller, or even if you have it in you. Therefore, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to discuss exactly what you need to know in order to reach this goal. So let's get into it. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like for me to make more videos like this one, and check out below in the description and grab a copy of my absolutely free self-publishing checklist that contains the secrets necessary to win at self-publishing, both getting your book self-published and also the next step, more advanced levels of getting your book to sell and become a bestseller perhaps. After 200 plus books that I've put on Amazon, I can tell you I've begun to see the patterns and the secret keys to winning at this exact game. So let's get into it. Not a writer. Well, when I first started, many years ago, I was not a reader, and that was really the starting point of a lot of problems. I did not read books for fun. When it came to school classes, I would just read the cliff notes, or not even read the book at all, just read the back cover, flip through the book a little bit, and then wing the tests. And this was not a great idea. Now, I wish I had been a reader earlier on, but I simply wasn't until I reached my mid-30s. At that point, I started getting into reading Kindle books because I realized they were on my phone, and I started getting into a series. At that time, I think it was Ender's Game was the book that got me into it. I listened to an audiobook, but I didn't have a copy of the audiobook for the second book in the series, and I decided maybe I'll try to read it on Kindle. And that was what brought me in to the entire game that I'm still playing this very day after so many years. Well, the thing is that because I was not reading much, my grammar was terrible, and I really never wrote anything in particular. So my ability to write and read were limited based upon that reading. It really started with not reading much. And that's one of the things, even though I'm not hitting this in today's video, becoming a reader will drastically improve your ability to write. So I would highly recommend you do read on a daily basis if you wish to improve your writing ability. I know that I have definitely implemented that into my schedule so that I get about an hour or 2 hours of reading every single day in order to continue to improve my writing and my reading ability. So that is something that I definitely would highly recommend for you to do. The thing is, though, I did start to become proficient at writing, and it was because of emails. I found that email was a format that worked great for me at staying in touch with people. But what happened was I had so many ideas I wanted to express that my emails got longer and longer and longer. My typing speed started to jump as a result of this. And what was happening was something I completely did not expect. The surprise was I was becoming a writer, something I never was in school. I was able to wing the tests and just do as best as I could, but I would have done a lot better if I'd actually been writing on a regular basis and reading on a regular basis. But at this point, I was now writing a lot of emails, staying in touch with lots of people. It made the difference for me. But this daily practice combined with spelling and grammar checking on those emails, where it showed me which words were being misspelled and which grammar structures were incorrect, that drastically increased my ability to get my grammar and all of these things in place, thus making me a much better writer. And it wasn't intentional, any of it, but I began to understand that by writing a lot combined with this spell checking issue, I was not making many of the mistakes that I was making before. I still, even slides like these ones, I run them through spell check and I find mistakes, but nowhere near the number of mistakes that I had in the old days. So the key is simply getting enough practice. And that's the thing. Even though I'm not a writer or wasn't a writer, I became a writer with the practice here. But what does this have to do with becoming a bestseller? Well, we'll get into that on our third and secret answer of the day. So if you're able to write, you can self-publish a bestseller, and you better believe you can. The first tip I want to hit is practicing writing daily will drastically increase the quality of your writing. I've mentioned this before, but saying something like 1,000 words a day, or setting a time limit of saying 30 minutes a day where you're going to sit down. You can start with a very limited goal. Let's say something as small as 5 minutes a day. I've actually done this in order to build up momentum, building in the habit, and then steadily increasing the amount of time that we're dedicating to this particular practice. We become exceptionally good over time at it. So even if you're a terrible writer or you've written at all, you need to be writing daily. And this is something that I ask many of my coaching clients as well on, which is, are you writing daily? If you're not writing daily, that's going to create a problem for you. So this is something that many people make mistakes on, but you definitely will not want to do this particular mistake. You're going to want to be writing and building a writing habit, a practice that you do on a daily basis. The second answer is optimizing your books will ensure that you have the best chance of reaching the bestseller status. We've mentioned this before, but the titles that you're using, specifically those keywords for nonfiction books, are crazy important. You can reach bestseller status in a week or two of releasing your book on the market for nonfiction. For fiction, we're going to need to build up an audience, but they're not going to build very quickly if our books are not optimized. The covers are just popping off the page, looking very similar to the bestsellers. Our titles have keywords that will be associated with us as a writer, author that's putting the books out there. We're building up an email list, and we're pulling those readers in and asking them to review our books to ensure that we're going to go upwards. And when we run ads, we're going to get more sales as a result of those ads and the reviews on it. Our descriptions are optimized. Our look-through is optimized. All of these things are coming together to form a cohesive whole that's setting us and putting us in the position to become a bestseller. And we're going to have a little momentum going here. See, so when you have your first book and then you have your second book, and we're learning with each of these steps. But that, I'm sort of cheating a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's hit the secret answer of the day. And our third answer, it is that the key to becoming a bestseller is small, incremental improvements over about 3 to 5 years. It's painful. I'd love to tell you you're going to do it. Now with nonfiction, we can do this in just a couple of weeks. We can reach bestseller status. But in the fiction category, assuming we're not putting our books in crazy categories that have nothing to do with our book, which I don't suggest violating Amazon's terms of service, but I would say putting them into the correct sub-niches, sub-genres within those categories available on Amazon, and then optimizing. We're regularly putting books out. We're building up our audience. We're notifying them of new books. We're getting better at each of the little steps that you find in my checklist in the description. Each of those steps, we're improving on those steps. These incremental changes are going to make a huge difference when it comes to making our books and seeing them become bestsellers that people are going to want to buy. And when more people buy it, Amazon will show and push your book to more people so that even more people will wish to buy, and we get in a positive loop with Amazon and your books. And so this is something that you're definitely going to want to invest some time in and to make sure that you have that under control as you're moving along. Same, by the way, goes with anything, whether you're playing tennis or puppy training. Small incremental improvements. We don't see them in the short run, the impact, but in the long run, we can move entire mountains with just little skills and little improvements. And how are you going to know what to improve? Well, that's where coaching comes in. So that's one of the reasons I offer self-publishing coaching for authors, which you can find below in the description if you need the motivation and the guidance and the direction. But if not, find somebody or find a community that you can plug into, or just comment below, and I'm able, and I do, go back and forth with different authors on helping them to optimize and get your self-publishing business going and getting you towards this bestseller status. Not something you can guarantee. I mean, you can guarantee it. Some people will just have thousands of books purchased, and then that will get you your bestseller. But I'm saying organically getting bestseller and not cheating or trying to game Amazon's system in order to get there, which sometimes can violate their terms and agreement. But the fact is the whole process will go faster if you do many of these steps on a daily basis. You can get through quite a bit. I know I try to work multiples, but we only have so many hours in a day, and our goal is to not burn out. And that's one of the things I like to keep self-publishing easy here. It's by breaking it down into small steps and just focusing on one little bit at a time as we move through the steps, and we get better and faster as we go. We do not move on to the next step until we have completed that very first step, and we will continue. The next time we come through it, we simply make those incremental changes. This combination is what is going to make you a bestseller on Amazon. And so I have a question for you. Have you self-published a bestseller? If you have, write yes below in the description. If you've never done it, write no below in the description, because I need to know where you're coming from. If you've maybe done it and used some of the tips or tricks that I'm suggesting here, or maybe you found something new. That's why it's always useful to check in the description comments just to see what other people are saying, and check up above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.